Hey everyone, it's Elena back for another weekly update. Happy New Year to everyone. This is my first update in 2022. I hope everyone had a safe and happy holiday. Whatever holiday you celebrate, I hope it was well spent with family, friends, or whoever, and you were able to get some rest and get motivation for this new year. I know personally 2021 was great to me. There was a lot of personal learning, professional learning, physical learning, and even writing my book in 2021 as well. That was a huge milestone in my life. So I think my year was very awesome. It's at the end of the day, it's what I make of it as well. So if I had a rough patch, it was up to me to make sure I got out of it. So I personally had a really awesome year. I hope everyone else did too. If not, fingers crossed that you're able to accomplish what you want and become the person you want in 22 and on. I just wanted to actually mention too, so over the holiday I went to my parents' house for a couple of days. Basically, I worked up until I think it was the 23rd of December, and then visited my parents for a couple of days for Christmas, then went to a friend's house up in Georgia, helped her with some of her house, putting flooring in, did some hunting and outdoor adventures basically. Then went back and met up with another friend and a couple of other folks and celebrated New Year's, and then saw my family again. And one of the things when I was home with my parents during Christmas break, the couple of days, I was able to find some videos and photos of when I was in Russia. And in fact, my parents have this photo album of their time at the orphanage. And a lot of the pictures, sure, I recall, and some I don't, but there was one in particular actually that really struck me, and I actually printed it out for me to hold in my wallet and at work. And I'll display it for those who are watching the video. If you're listening, I can't really display a photo, but it's me on the ground in the orphanage in this small room with, I think, what I was able to count, at least 8 to 12 beds. And they're beds that are like this thin, basically. And we're laying on the ground with this mattress. And it was funny because the first thing I thought was, well, no wonder I had back issues when I was growing up. But aside from that, when I was looking at myself in the photo, I was just so happy. It's like the most simple things, and this has always been me, the most simple things normally make me the happiest. When it's too overcomplicated, and this is aside from work, but in the personal aspect, simple things are what make me the happiest. So a trail walk. Some people are like, oh, this is so boring. It's like, no, I love this. And that's just an example. But I was looking at myself in that photo, and I was about 7 at the time. And it's almost as if I could feel the joy within the photo. And I could just feel that the simple life and what some people would think is a terrible life, I was content with. And sure, sometimes we don't know what's better out there if we've never experienced it, but at the end of the day, it's like I was seeing myself being so joyful. And part of that, some of the questions I asked my parents during the time and reminiscing, they mentioned that when they first met me at the orphanage, I had black fingertips. And basically, the kids in the orphanage, we would climb trees and pick walnuts and somehow figure out how to break them. And we didn't have what most Americans really have, the utensil to crack it and open it. We found a way. We found a rock to to break it, or I don't recall all the different avenues that we found a way to break the walnut, but that was our activity basically for the day, to open and eat the walnuts. And I thought that was very interesting. I don't recall that necessarily, but it was a good memory to talk through with my parents. And it made me realize too that maybe that's why I'm a pretty resourceful person. Some people kind of describe me in a MacGyver way. I can look at something and find a way to make it work. And so anyways, I think that's very interesting, and it makes a lot of sense as to why I'm very resourceful with the items I do have or don't have, and what I can make of it. So that was a really good memory to go over, and that just kind of kickstarted other conversations and memory jogging. So I think it was a really beneficial trip. I don't see my parents too often, just with the matter of scheduling, but that was a really beneficial trip. And the other quick fact I actually wanted to throw out there for people who are interested in Russian culture, while everyone pretty much celebrates Christmas on the 25th of December, the Russians technically don't really celebrate Christmas until January 7th. And the reason being is because they're on a different calendar. Now they observe both just because it's so wildly known across the country on December 25th, but based on calendar, they actually don't celebrate it until January 7th. So, fun fact there. My family and I never observed it both times. It was December 25th is Christmas. So, but yeah, so that was really cool to celebrate Christmas with my family. Obviously, as we get older, it's a little different, but yeah. And the other thing is, I'm not going to go into it too much, but I have some goals for 2022, some projects I'm actually working right now. I'm hoping to publish something this year. I'm not going to give it away, but working towards that and some other items within the year. So I'm really excited for the different efforts that are happening this year. And one thing, I'm not here to coach necessarily people on resolutions, but I thought it was interesting when I came back, and it's every year. So I'm pretty physically active. I like to work out. It's a really good mental relief. Physically, I like to keep strong, especially for my back as well. But it's just interesting when I come back and I see the new year and all the people that are out there running outside or at the gym, and it's just packed. It's like the people who are physically active throughout the year, most of the time this is like the worst time frame for them, from January through about February, March, because at that point people usually get off the bandwagon. I'm all for people who have resolutions. If you want to improve yourself, fantastic. But I challenge you actually to look at resolutions more as a habit rather than a resolution. And the verbiage of I get to, not I have to. And I think that's common even with some of the items I've been reading of adoptees. The way that they talk about, oh, I need to go and find this so I feel better. It's like, sure, you go for it. I think that's awesome. But the way we change the words to I get to, it makes it more on a positive note versus I need to or I have to. So with that, don't make a resolution, make it a habit. This is for personal and adoptees and some of the things that they want to do. And the reason I talk about this though too is because it kind of resembles who I am as a person, right? How I was when I was small, or in the orphanage, and then come to the US, and then obviously as an adult. the different things because of my adoption and just the personality that I have. I'm big into positive mental aspects and habits. It's not a resolution. If we really want to improve ourselves as a person, it's a habit. We want to change habits so we can change our mindset and our perspective and ultimately our lives. And that was something I had to do. I've done every year, but late 2020 and majority of 2021, I made it a habit that I needed to do deeper self-reflection. And what I mean by that is forcing myself to feel all the things I had suppressed for decades. And I made it a habit to, one, meditate, and that helped tremendously, but two, to express and even talk about my emotions. And that was something I didn't do when I was growing up, because most of the time I was told not to, and to suck it up and just get on with it, which is fine, right, to a certain extent. If you are doing that to a point where you're suppressing and you're actually making yourself and the environment around you resentful, that is not healthy. There's a balance of getting over it and accepting your situation to figuring out, like, no, what is it that I actually need to address? And so I made it a habit for 2021 to work on that, to work on myself way more differently than I ever had prior. And it made such a huge difference. That is actually why I was able to write the book that I did, because for one, it wasn't, oh, let me make a resolution that I'll write a book, and then nothing ever happened. It was, who do I need to become to achieve the goals that I have in my life, and the dreams and the aspirations and the habits? What habits do I need to do all of that? And that's why I push back on people that have resolutions, because they approach it differently. We really need to start having habits to achieve our potential and the greatness all within us. Everyone has greatness. Even if you don't think you do, you just haven't tapped into it. And I would also encourage meditation for that. Calm your mind. And one of the things that I've had to ask myself, and I never really believed in meditation until I started it, was asking yourself, what is your higher self wanting? What do they want? What do you want to be? And just by sitting with yourself, it tells you. And when I was doing that and I was asking myself of that versus what the outside world wants from me, I was able to find the different answers. I have a path forward. And one of them was writing the book. And for this year, I have some other projects I'm working towards. So make it a habit to do whatever it is that you want rather than a resolution. But I'm just putting that out there as hopefully that helps. I'm not gonna, coach you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I just wanted to share that and how I ended up writing the book and some of the mental aspects that I've been working on and improving to get to where I am today and to where I want to be in, tomorrow, each week, each year, and each decade, etc. So very focused on the present and the future and not letting the past hold me back. And it's been very, very therapeutic as well to really sit down and think about that and understand what ticks me and how to improve it as well. So, but yeah, that's it for this week's update. I'm, like I said, probably a couple of times, I'm really excited for some of the projects I will be doing for this year. Thank you for continuing to watch and listen to the different updates. Thanks for all the people who are reading the different blogs. I see a lot more international people as well, so I think One was from Ireland recently. One was also from Germany. I think there was London as well. And then a various amount of people from Texas, Florida, Washington, California, Virginia, Florida, Oklahoma, I think I even saw as well, Michigan. So keep it up. I appreciate everyone checking it out. Hopefully, I think there's more states than what I have on my hands, but maybe one day I can put up all the states. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I appreciate everyone's support in this journey. So if you have any questions or topics you would like for me to cover, definitely let me know. Either reach out to me personally on the YouTube channel, on the podcast, on social media, it doesn't matter. I'll figure out a way to respond and see how I can incorporate a topic you may want me to cover. So I think that's really all I had for this week, and I'm excited for next week's update, and stay tuned.